Hi.
I'm
Wonderful.
so happy to welcome you to my Instagram. And I love having you as a guest already because you have all these beautiful colors in your kitchen and watermelon, which I happen to have. That's so funny. I happen to have a watermelon right here.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I'm
Isn't that
jealous.
isn't that funny? So I don't usually buy it in the
Yeah.
winter, but I don't know, there was just something, it looked really good and I decided to get it. So I can't wait to hear more from you about things that I could do with the watermelon. So
Oh, I got
yeah,
plenty.
plenty. So I already mentioned about my Rise and Shine
Okay.
20. I'm yawning. Don't pay attention to it. I've done so many lives today that I'm just but this is my final one, and I'm so excited to end tonight's Instagram with you because I love you. First of all, let me just show this. Oops. Yep, there we go. This is your 7-day and you have it right there.
Yeah.
So this is yours, and so I'm really excited to hear all about your work. And where should we start? There's so much ground to cover.
I know so much. Well, I would love to, hear all about your history and how you started with plant-based and a healing journey. So I would like to share that too. So that's where we can begin.
Okay, so I'll try to keep it short.
Okay.
I can get chatty, but I love my journey because I love sharing it because I know that it can influence and inspire others. So my journey goes back to 2005 when I was diagnosed with alopecia,
Okay.
which is an autoimmune disease that causes your hair to fall out. And my
Yeah.
hairdresser was the one to notice it. Well, long story short, I ended up going to 3 dermatologists. I really had to advocate for myself until the third one finally did a hormonal test and told me what the problem was, why my hair was falling out. And so the only thing is that he did not make any connection, I have to say. I loved him as a doctor, but he didn't make the connection between food and alopecia. So I started reading everything I could get my hands on, read a book called Dangerous Grains by Dr. Ron Hogan, in which he asserts that autoimmune diseases can be traced back. So anyway, so what I did then was I called my internist and I said, can you please do the test for celiac, because that was a connection. He said that celiac was one of the long laundry list of autoimmune diseases that are connected to gluten. I called her, she did the test, boom, I had celiac, as did my sister, who had been diagnosed 11 years before, but she never really talked very much about it. So I didn't really know much about it. So I started going gluten-free, and it took about the better part of 2 years for my hair to start growing back. Now, it's been almost 20 years, and it's not completely grown back, unfortunately, but I think I've kept it at bay, thankfully. And in the meantime, I then, several years later, went to health coaching school, and I got a certificate from the Institute for Integrative Nutrition.
Okay.
And I started really diving into different food theories, food, plans. And I never really thought much about vegan, but I sort of flirted with it a little bit. And I did it for a few years. And then, well, part of the reason I did it was because of Institute for Integrative Nutrition, but also my sister during that time, she was 16 months younger than me. She had a heart episode. She never had a problem in her life except for having celiac. And she ended up getting 2 stents in her heart, 2. And she called me and said, okay, Miss Fancy Pants, you're in this fancy health coaching program. What do I do? And I said, well, go read Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease, go read China Study, and then call me in the morning. So she did. Overnight, she became vegan. And she was great doing it for 12 years until a few months ago, about 4 months ago, when she admitted to me that she fell off the wagon. And sure enough, she had another heart issue. And so
Oh,
I read her the riot act. She went back and completely really has been sticking for about 4 months now to it. But anyway, that I digress a little bit. So I did that for a few years, and then I met my husband, and we dated for a long while. And during the dating, I started eating the way he eats, which is to say that he ate a standard American diet and had a cocktail every night at 6 o'clock. And so I started doing the same thing. And before you know it, I gained 20 pounds. like boom, like
That.
that. And I was not a happy camper. So I started this diet and that diet and this diet and that diet. And none of them really were sustainable for me. If they work for you, anybody who's listening, all the more power to you. They didn't work for me because they weren't sustainable. I was hungry all the time, starving all the time. And so I then started Googling and I found Chef AJ.
Okay.
And I found Nutmeg Notebook. And I found Dr. Esselstyn, videos, and I found Dr. McDougall, and I started paying a lot of attention and reading and watching, and I decided, just like that, that was it. I was going to do that. I was not going to just be vegan and dance around it. I was going to be whole food, plant-based, no oil, and gluten-free because of the celiac. And then my life changed.
Wow.
And that was it. That's where and the oatmeal book that I wrote is really a direct outgrowth of that, because the oatmeal was what helped me to create healthy habits that were consistent and sustainable. And that's why I wrote this, because I hope that other people will listen to this and realize the power of oats.
Right.
So that's my story.
Awesome. Okay. All right. So I will share mine, and then I can't wait to get into our recipes and everything and share each other's recipes. And I have questions about yours, so I'm excited. Okay. So I became a vegetarian when I was 11 years old. And it was initially for my love of animals. And then I started to research health and nutrition and the colon and the intestines and the transit time for plant-based foods and meat, and what that did for the body, and how long meat would just putrefy and really cause disease in people. And so initially for the animals, and then for the health. And I was just eating vegetarian for 26 years, which means vegetarian nowadays means like dairy and eggs, right? I remember it used to be simpler when I was younger. It was like vegetarians, I still think it should be vegetarian, carnivore, and herbivores, because vegetarians eat vegetables, vegetation, and but now we have vegan and plant-based and all these other things. So after 26 years of being a vegetarian, I transitioned into high raw vegan. And for the past 15 years, I have been high raw vegan. Now, during my vegetarian days, right before hitting the vegan transition, I did have some health challenges, and I had allowed myself to gain some weight after my pregnancies. So I did eat cheese back then, and bread and eggs, and traditional fried foods, and pizza, fast food pizza, from those places. And I was vegetarian, but I wasn't a healthy vegetarian at that point. So, but once I decided to take my health into my own hands, and I knew better, because when I was in high school, when I graduated, I wanted to become a holistic health practitioner. So very healthy, very fit, into health and nutrition, raw foods, juicing. But then I kind of just let that all go for a few years and didn't make myself a priority. When I gained my weight, I also suffered from sleep apnea, chronic fatigue, Epstein-Barr, gallstones, and I went to excess weight, of course. I went to the ER one time because of my gallstone pain and gallbladder attack. And they confirmed that I had gallstones, and they said, let's get that out. Let's come back next week. And I was like, no, thank you. Bye-bye. I'm going to go home and heal myself. So I turned my life around. I did a 30-day intensive detox, fresh juices, raw foods, tonics, tinctures, healing herbs, loads of liquids, and hydrotherapy treatments, bath treatments. I just detoxed myself intensely. And I healed myself of my gallstones, and then just continued on that path. I went to the Optimum Health Institute in Lemon Grove, California. Gosh, it's been about 22 to 24 years probably since then. So I did all their intensive nutritional studies and cleansing and all of that. And then I continued on and, became a raw chef and nutritional consultant.
Wow.
I went to different culinary classes like Matthew Kenny Culinary Academy in Venice. So did that, the raw food chef, some different online ones, and have really it's been my passion, like I said, since high school. So, but I allowed myself to lose track there for a few years and got back on track, pretty much saved my life, because, my before and afters just speak for themselves during that time when I lost that weight, because you know, we can get healthier, you guys, as we age. We don't have to get unhealthy and degenerate. We can regenerate because it's based on what we are eating in the past. So what we look and feel like tomorrow is what we ate yesterday or last year. So it's exciting for me because our cells are always replacing, right? New skin lining, new set of bones, basically in a 7-year period. It's slowly the osteoblasts and osteoclasts are breaking and building. So yeah, we can get healthier as we age, and that's really exciting to me. So that's kind of my story, you know, where I'm at today and why I created my 7-day juice and meal plan recipe program. Was during my healing journey and after. These are the recipes that I created to help myself eat more raw. And I have 7 juice recipes, 7 dessert recipes. Desserts are key. And then I have 3 different meal option sections. So 7 meal option 1s, 7 in meal option 2, and 7 in meal option 3. So 42 recipes in all. And it's designed to be flexible, and they're simple recipes, but they're very nourishing and fulfilling because I want people to feel satisfied and excited about food. And that's what really excites me too, when I create, like, you know, these recipes and stuff. It's like they're beautiful and they're exciting, and it's more exciting because they're actually giving us nutrition and making us feel alive, as opposed to the food we used to eat way back. You know what I mean? And it's exciting to meet people like you know, Ellen, that, you know, you're so into health and nutrition and helping others too. And, you know, back when I was little growing up, I felt alone, you know, being a vegetarian back in the 80s, you know, it's like there was nobody else. And when I would go and order food with the family and we would go out, it would be like, I would say no meat. And they didn't understand that back then. They thought, oh, that must just mean no beef. They'd still like put bacon and we'd have to send it back. No meat. It means no meat. So
means no meat.
yeah. But nowadays, you know, there's vegan restaurants and, you know, everything. So, and just being in this bundle together with you and everybody else, it's so fun. I'm like, oh, wow. You know, there's so many other ones of us that are so passionate about this. And we're here to share our recipes and our programs with you and consult with you and just help you get healthier and to heal yourself, because I truly believe God designed our bodies to heal themselves of anything, as long as we do the right things and stop doing what we've done that's hurting us, which is the food and the thoughts and the stress and the sleep. We have to fix all of that, you know? So yeah.
I'm laughing a little bit because I'm finding myself, you know, I've done a lot of these lives because I want to meet so many of the people in the bundle, and I find myself going like this a lot.
Yeah.
And so I just found myself doing it again because, like, everything that everybody says is so pertinent and so, you know, sensible to me. Concentrate a little bit. I looked through your ebook, and I had like a million questions. And let's just get really practical first, because I showed you that I have a watermelon.
Yes.
I mean, there are a couple things I've done with watermelon. Cut it and just eat it plain. I've juiced it, which I love. I've added salt to it.
Okay.
I've made watermelon gazpacho, and that's it. So do you have any suggestions, or did I cover it?
I have suggestions. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Do I ever? So I am like the watermelon lady. I do watermelon cleansing and feasting every year, where I will do anywhere from 3 to 8 days of solid watermelon only. And I will tell you, after the first couple of years of doing that, I started to think, because I thought, wow, I actually feel like my most healthiest when I do my watermelon cleanses, even though I'm all raw, pretty much high raw, and live very healthy lifestyle. When I do the watermelon, it takes me to a higher level of health. So I started to research it, and I realized, I was like, wow, why? Because when I would eat it, I would get this super strength. I have a blog called like Superpower. Like, it would make me strong. Like, I felt like I could do my yoga better, my push-ups, my exercise. I had energy galore. And so, of course, it has a lot of lycopene in it. And the white part has citrulline in it. So when we ingest it, our kidneys convert it into L-arginine, which is an amino acid we need for strength. And then the rind contains a lot of minerals. So I would juice the rind. I led groups, I would lead groups of like 40 people through a watermelon cleanse. I used to do like 3 to 5 day challenges, which I think I'll do another one this summer. And So I found it very important, especially even getting the feedback from my participants. I found it very important to juice the rind because the potassium and the sodium balance from the red part and the green part needed to be complete. And it really supported each other with those minerals. So you got more balance and there was more stability and more brain power and more brain function. The rind, when you juice it, it also is kind of, I want to say like a laxative effect, but not like somebody's going to get diarrhea or something, but it will definitely support cleansing the intestines and making sure that everything's moving correctly. So I like to incorporate that, and I just cut it in little chunks, and then I will juice it through my juicer.
Okay, so wait, I want to ask you, so you're talking about this part right here, and
Yeah.
what you would do is would you scrub it? How would you
I always make sure that it's organic, and yes, I would scrub it and clean it, and also get a knife and just go scrape the outside of it. And if you see the wax bunch up, then you got to make sure you get all that off. If you don't, then don't juice it. Mine were organic, and mine are always from people that grow them. I'm very fortunate that I always seem to have friends around that have these amazing things. So I just get them straight, you know, from the farm, from their farm. And so, yeah. And so I would make, during the cleanse, I will do the rind juice, and then I will take the middle part along with the white part, and I will just put that in the blender and make slushies out of it. And then I will just eat it whole. And then if I'm doing other items with it, I'll blend it with pineapple and mint and kind of make it fun, you know, into slushies. Yeah, oh, it's so good, so good. And it just goes through my juicer pretty easily when I cut it into chunks. The rind, I don't really like to juice the actual watermelon because it's already 95% water, and it's just, it doesn't make sense to me to juice the red part. So what I do is I juice the rind, the white part, and a little bit of the red. And then I just eat the rest, either do it in a smoothie or
so
just
interesting.
Yeah.
Did you figure that out on your own, or did you learn it elsewhere?
Yeah, pretty much just being creative and just, you know, eating the watermelon, and then just studying more nutrition, found all the nutrition that's in the rind. So I thought, I'm going to start juicing that, you know, because I'm not going to chew it. So,
yeah, no, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
I have been through a number of juicers, and the juicer that I have now is my favorite so far. I have a Nama.
Me too.
You do too? It's amazing because, you know, the chamber that it comes with, you just put everything in it instead of having to feed it in.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's so exciting. I just did a YouTube video. I'm going to release it tomorrow, but I got all of the new accessories, Ellen. They have a giant hopper.
They have a even bigger hopper?
Yeah. So this is the current hopper.
Right.
This is the new hopper. Yeah. Look at that.
And it fits on the same machine?
It fits on the same machine. And then there's a new juice container and a new pulp container. They're giant. And they're actually perfect for me. I'm going to publish the video later today, but they're perfect for me because I'm a big juicer. I'm a batch juicer. I've been juicing for 30 years.
Okay. Wait.
So I've had a lot of different.
I have 1,000 questions. Okay. So wait, before I want to get back to the juicing for 30 years, but don't let me forget.
Okay.
I want to ask you about, did you get the accessory that makes sorbet?
Yes, I do have that one.
And what do you think about that? Is it worth getting?
I have it, but I haven't used it.
Ah, okay. I've seen it used videos and it looks great.
It looks
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's that. And then, so you've been juicing for a really long time. Do you have, I know in your book, in your ebook, you have combinations, but when you go to juice, do you follow those recipes, or do you just sort of like pull stuff out of the fridge and just throw in whatever?
Great question. I do use my own recipes a lot, but then at the same time, I just kind of create. I think because I've done it for so long, it's habitual. I've also used to create, because I used to have my own juicing business, and I would actually have clients who were doing juicing detoxes. So I would create programs for them and create very individual juice mixes with very, very unique mixes with different herbs and things that you normally wouldn't find in traditional juicing. And I would make certain mixes for them along their healing journey. So, you know, that's always in my mind as well. And I really just use my intuition and, you know, what I feel. And I still do that for myself, you know. And yeah, so I kind of do that, and I've learned so much through the years that I just kind of put stuff together. And I have my basic favorites. I am going to be releasing my first exclusive completely juicing book, and it's going to have all my signature juice recipes in there, as well as my healing tonics I use for all my clients. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, you know, when people are juicing, they want to have the staples in their kitchen is what I teach them. So the items that are going to produce the most liquid as your foundation. So like carrot, celery, cucumber, those are always going to be the staples. And then you want to have something that's going to flavor it and make it taste good, you know, like lemon and pineapple. So I'll include those a lot. And then of course your greens like parsley, cilantro, mint. And then I like to bring in like the red bell pepper because it's highest in vitamin C. And then the ginger, of course, the turmeric, and those components. So I kind of keep it simple. I have like a celery recipe that I do a lot, which is just celery, lemon, and apple. And that's really simple because I have to continue to have my juice. Even when I'm eating, you know, all my healthy foods and raw foods, hydrating foods, drinking my water, having my smoothies. If I don't have my juice that day, or even like for a couple days straight, I notice the difference because it's like a vitamin infusion because it's bypassing that digestive system, and those vitamins are directly absorbed into the cells very quickly, almost as fast as alcohol. So for my body, it really needs that juice. It appreciates it. And when I drink it every day, I feel like, you know, I just radiate, my skin radiates, and it just soaks it up. And that's how you know nutrition is really getting through to your cells, is if you feel it and see it in your skin.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about practical, something practical.
Okay.
How often do you go to the market?
Probably twice a week.
And so you get your vegetables and your fruits for juicing and smoothies and all that stuff. You go twice a week, and you use everything, right?
Yeah, I use everything. Sometimes one thing will last if I get too much and I didn't juice enough of that, and then I just keep it in the fridge. I have certain ways to store different things to make them stay fresh longer.
And thank you for that. And then I have found, and I don't know if this is like really the way you're supposed to do it for juicing purposes, but I have found that when I make juice in my Nama and I make a big chamber full, you know, a lot of it, and I can store it, say, in 2 quart-sized jars, I put what I don't drink right then in the fridge, and I actually the next day I like it better.
You like your juice better the next day as it's set for a while.
Yeah, and it's colder, and I like the cold. You know, I find it very refreshing. So is it not good? Does it lose its punch if it's nutritionally if it's in the fridge? Because
you and I are using a cold pressed juicer, it's a slow masticating juicer. Our Namas only spin at a 50 RPM. So they are not oxidizing the juice. They keep all their integrity of their enzymatic activity and life force. Mm-hmm. So we can store our juices in the refrigerator from 3 to 4 or 5 days. I do. Okay. So as long as we put them in our mason jars, these are the new jars that I just got too with all their accessories they came out with.
What are
so?
What?
Yeah.
What jars?
These are their new 17-ounce glass jars that Nama just came out with. And they have these lids on them. They're really cool. And they have a seal gasket in them so they don't spill. And then there's a notch here so they fit into your car's cup holder. So they're really cool. And the lids work for the mason jars too. So when you store your juice in the fridge, you want to make sure that you're filling it to the tippy top of your jar. And then you're putting on your lid, and you put them in the back of the refrigerator. You can freeze them too, which I don't do that very often, hardly ever. But if you freeze them, you will not be filling to the tippy top. You will be filling below the shoulder line. So as it expands, it can bust here if you go up the neck. Right. So you want to stay at least 1.5 inches or use the straightest mason jar you can.
So leaving room for expansion.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, exactly. So our juices can go in the fridge. If somebody's using a fast type juicer, like the Jack LaLanne, the Breville, the Juice Fountain, those spin at very fast RPMs, anywhere from 6,000 to 12,000 RPMs a minute. And I used to use those way back in my juicing journey when I first started. Yeah. So, but you know, they spin very fast, so they oxidize the juice, and you can see it in the color, and the pulp is wet. So they're not going to last as long. You want to drink them right away if you're using that. You'll notice the difference in the color of our kind of juicer.
Right. And also now, now I used to have a Breville. I used to have a couple of different cheaper ones, and they did not do a very good job of getting the juice out of the pulp. So it would come out with a lot of not very dry, like wet pulp. And
Yeah,
now everything comes out dry as a bone, which is great.
exactly.
Now, I'm going to ask you your question, your opinion about something. A few years ago, I happened to get my hands on a Champion, and I have it in my basement, but I don't use it because I find it's a little bit of a pain in the neck, where the JAMA is just so much easier to use. Is there any reason, my husband keeps saying to me, why don't you just get rid of the Champion? You don't need it. And I keep saying to him, I don't know, I feel like it's such a, like a standby. It's like the thing that people used to use. So anyway, I just wanted to know your opinion about the Champion.
Okay. So your Champion is probably white and it's probably horizontal, right?
Yep.
It's long and big. It has the single auger.
Yep.
Or, yeah, just one. Okay. I personally would keep it. About 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, I got rid of some of my other juicers I wish I wouldn't have. I had a TriBest Solo Star 4, but it was giving me trouble because it's NSF certified and I used it a lot through my juicing business. So it was already giving me some issues, but I would keep it because it can be a standby, and it can also be great if you are doing some intense cleansing and you're making like bulk juicing in your Nama J2, and then you want to do like just solid wheatgrass in that thing. That thing probably is excellent for wheatgrass, because it's a single style auger and it's that vertical. I believe,
I've never done wheatgrass. Is that something that you'd recommend?
Oh, absolutely, yes. And you can do wheatgrass in the Nama as well. And what I recommend to people is to cut up all their greens. And you can see that in some of my videos. I cut up my wheatgrass, I cut up my cilantro, my parsley into just little pieces, and then I put them in the juicer that way in the hopper. So you just throw everything into the hopper like that, because it'll pull it down into the auger much better. If it stays long, it's stringy and it wraps around the blades.
So literally, like take a scissors or a knife and just cut it?
I just did scissors, my kitchen scissors.
Okay.
And I just cut it up. Yeah. So yeah, I would keep yours, because Champions are old, they're trusty, they're good, strong machines, right. and yours may have a homogenizer screen.
It does.
And you can actually you can actually put your frozen food on the top and make sorbet.
Right.
So it's a great machine.
So when I talked with my husband about it, I said, I really want to get the sorbet attachment for the Nama, and he was like, well, why then do you need the Champion? So I just don't want to get rid of the Champion. I bought it on Facebook Marketplace. It's like brandy new.
Wow.
And I bought it for $50.
Wow. Keep it. If not, send it to me.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not taking up a lot of room. It's downstairs in the basement. It's really not taking up a lot of room. So, okay. I'm going to tell him that you said that I should not.
Yeah. So Rosie said to keep it.
Yeah. And if anybody is here listening and they're new to juicing, what would you, and they say, okay, I'm going to get the Nama. I'll do it. Okay. And Beachy Girl, hi.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah, I'm so glad to see her. Or him, I'm not sure. No, it's a her, Beachy Girl. If you were recommending, if somebody said to you, I want to start juicing, I have the Nama, I don't even know where to start, what would you tell them?
To start with some basic, simple recipes. And I would start them on something that they're going to notice some results right away, because that'll keep them excited and really motivated to keep juicing. I would say to approach it in a manner where you have patience and you're excited about your health and your future, to imagine that juice feeding your cells in a way that nothing else has. So I would start you with cucumber and celery. It's a great mix, 50-50. It is a mix that really nourishes the nervous system and brain function. It's a very calming, peaceful mix, and you can literally feel it when you drink it. So I recommend that for somebody recovering from stress even, or somebody who has to take an exam or has to go talk on stage to 100,000 people, something stressful situation. It brings so much calmness and clarity to the system. And it's very easy on the taste buds. It's very bland. So it's just very neutral. And it doesn't taste real bitter or anything like that. Now, usually bitters are better for causing the liver to dump, so I have recipes like that as well. But that would be a great place to start out with. And then from there, I would have you do like just a standard vegetable mix, a veggie mix. So you're going to put in your beet, your carrot, your celery. Okay, you got your three vegetables there. And then you're going to add a little lemon, a little apple, maybe one of each. And then think about the green. Oh, maybe I'll add some kale or some cilantro. Cilantro is a heavy metal detoxifier, so really good for the liver. And then some parsley, so you can add some greens. And that's a good vegetable, kind of like a healthy V8, healthy juice for us, but no tomato.
Right.
And I would start there. Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's really good to know. Okay, well, I do have about a million more questions, but
Yeah.
I don't have to go make dinner for Michael shortly. So,
This is fun.
yeah, I love your book. I can't wait to just really dig into it. I have to tell you that maybe you'll be able to help me figure out why this happened. When I was at IIN, in the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, one of the dietary theories that we studied was raw. They had all different kinds. And I really glommed onto it. I liked it. And I started making a lot of raw stuff. And then I found myself almost so impacted in a like overexcited physically, not just mentally, but like it was almost too intense, the flavors, the tastes, what it did to me.
Okay.
And I stopped.
Okay.
And I've almost been a little bit scared, it sounds crazy, but scared to try again, but I really want to. And so the raw ebooks that are in the bundle are really calling on my name. And on Friday, the first day of the bundle, a week and a day ago, I decided to make Chris Kendall's. He's got a few ebooks, and I made his. It's called Sweet Cabbage,
Okay.
and it calls for cabbage and pears and figs and cinnamon. I had the cabbage, I had the cinnamon. I didn't have pears, so I used apple. I didn't have figs, so I used dates. And I made the salad, and I made a bowl. Honestly, it was like one of the biggest bowls in, like, huge. And I ate almost the entire thing.
Yeah, it's fun, isn't it?
So good. And I had it for breakfast. Yeah. And I was thinking that I was going to probably follow it with some oatmeal, because I usually have oatmeal for breakfast, but I didn't. I was so satisfied.
Yeah, so kind of nourished. And like you said before, you felt almost overwhelmed with it. And were you eating it at that time too when you felt that, or were you just learning about it?
I was eating it, and I just felt it was almost like the flavors were almost too intense or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hard to explain.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, it could have just been just such a change, for you, that the flavors are more enhanced in the raw food, definitely. And it's so nutritionally dense that you don't realize, but it's like, wow, I get full like fast. Right. The salads are different because they're so much lighter, and you can eat a big salad. But if you're eating some of the more gourmet raw things with nuts and things like that, you'll feel that fullness. But what I love about it too is it digests real quick. And then you feel full of life. Like you could go work out afterwards as opposed to different food.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's interesting. That could be why, it was just affecting you with all of that overwhelming, like, nutrition and enzymatic activity, because there's so much enzymes in there to give us so much energy and strength. I'm glad you're wanting to try it again.
Oh yeah. I'm all over it. I kind of don't even know where to start. Yeah. So but I will. I'm just going to read through them, and right here, I'm going to start with yours. Yes. So, okay, before we finish, I know that you're going to be willing to do this. I got to find, here it is. I like to do this with my guests, if there's time.
Okay.
So I have these cards.
Okay.
Cheryl Richardson's self-care cards.
Okay.
And with your permission, I'm really putting you on the spot.
Oh, no.
I'm going to pull a card for you. I'm going to.
Okay.
I'm gonna pull a card, and here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to take a moment. I'm going to read it to you, and then I'd like you to think about how the card relates to the work that you do and what you share with people, and how we can make sort of a connection. So I have the cards. This might be challenging. I don't know. Maybe not. You seem like a creative person. Okay. It's called Silence.
Hmm.
And the back of it says, rest your mind. Silence is good self-care.
Absolutely. Okay. So you want me to respond to how that can apply to what I do to share
Yeah,
for
yeah. Just
ah,
riff on it.
okay. Yeah, absolutely. I think silence is golden. Silence, there's so many different factors how we can interpret a silence and maybe what this means. But I think of silence in a way to silence ourselves enough in our brain to calm it, to create that peaceful environment, because we are overwhelmed by social media, by music, by movies, by people's opinions, that our brains are just overwhelmed. They are overtaxed. Even just the simplicity of using our phone, you guys, is very stressful to our brain. Just checking our social media, it hacks our brain to be thinking only about what's in that phone. So we don't have any silent space or quietness to think on our own. That's why it's very essential to turn everything off every day and to not immediately go to your technology in the morning. Spend that quiet time in silence to allow your own self to think about what it knows to be true for yourself and make your own decisions and thoughts. Because as soon as we peek into our social media, get on our email, watch TV, watch a movie, listen to a song, we are opening ourselves up to suggestions and overwhelm. So having that silence each day allows us to be on top of that. And it helps our mindset and our own belief. So we are not so open to the suggestions and opinions of everything else in the world, because we have to make those for ourselves. So I think silence is essential for health, for our brain function, for our sleep, for silencing ourselves before we go to sleep. That's the other thing, few hours before bed, turn all technology off. And it's not always easy to do. And I'm not always able to do that, but it's something I strive to get to do 100% of the time, because I know I will be healthier for it. And I crave the silence. I get overwhelmed at times. I used to be an instructor and a dean for like so many years. And I loved it and I loved my students. But when I was done with my day, I would have to sit in silence.
Yeah.
I would literally get into my vehicle and just sit there for 20 minutes to decompress. I would not look at anything. I would just stare out into the sky. Silence. Because the brain has to calm down and collect itself, because we're constantly talking and helping, especially what we do, right? We're helping, we're consulting, we're giving, and that takes our energy, and it's not a bad thing, but we just have to learn to have that silence somewhere so we can regenerate and recoup. And I could probably keep talking for hours on that. So yeah.
Well, I'm so glad that you were willing to sort of run with it, and those cards really helped me to just think about, just look at things from a different perspective, I guess.
Absolutely. Beautiful.
Thank you for doing that. That's really
Yeah.
sweet. So, okay, final last words. Let's give everybody a call to action.
Okay.
I'm going to let you go first.
All right. So we have our wonderful books, and I hope we can hear a little bit more about yours, Ellen, in a minute. But our books are in the Vegan Health Bundle right now, you guys, and you can get that. There's like 2,000 recipes in it. It's like an $8,000 value for only $49, and you only have until tomorrow, Sunday at 11:59 Pacific Standard Time is the cutoff, and this specific bundle will never be available again. You'll be able to get my book on its own after, and Ellen's book after, but why not get it now, where you get both of ours and tons of other recipes to help you on your journey to transition to healthier living. The link is in either one of our bios, so just go click on that, get your bundle, download it. I recommend you do it like within a week. Even though you have a whole year, don't put it off. Download it in 1 week, the entire thing, because once you do that, you have it forever. And then pick a few recipes and start making them each week, so you don't overwhelm yourself. Pick 2 or 3, put your list down for your groceries, go get those when you go do your normal shopping, and then you're slowly going to transition adding healthy recipes to your diet each week. In 6 months, you might have changed your whole diet just by doing that each week. The time's going to pass anyways, so don't wait. It's good.
That's a great point. The time's going to pass anyway, so
Exactly.
why not make it pass and know that you did something to invest in health?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
and also, you know, $49 might, on the face of it, you go, 49, that's a lot. I mean, I could buy a cookbook for $15. But the thing is, 3 cookbooks would be probably $49, and instead you're getting so many resources. And
So many.
I think it's really important for people to know to invest in their health. We need to make an investment in our health. It's kind of like, think of it like a copay. You know, when you
Yes.
go to the doctor, think of it like a copay. We have to pay those copays. So
Yeah,
this
yeah.
this is a great way
It's
to really, it's healthy, and it's a really great way to get yourself kind of moving in that direction. No matter if you're at the beginning of your journey or you're already, you know, well ensconced in it, it always helps to have extra new resources.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I think I'm just going to talk for a moment and just tell,
Yes,
I
please.
just want to explain that my journey includes realizing that I needed to create some new habits, and habits that would stick. And I needed to find a way to do it that would not create, I wouldn't walk into decision fatigue. And if I have to wake up every day and go, oh, what am I going to have for breakfast? That just, it really would not joggle. What's the word? Joggle. I can't talk. It would just make my mind crazy, you know? Jumble. It would jumble my mind.
Jumble. There we go.
So
yeah.
I needed to find a way I needed a door to walk through that would help me not to get rid of the decision fatigue, and to try to make my mornings go smoother. And for me, the way I did that was I started with the same oatmeal all the time. I would make my oatmeal. I would add some fruit to, I would finish cooking it in the pan. I'd put it in my bowl. I'd add some fruit. I'd add some flax meal. I'd add some chopped walnuts. I would add a little bit of maple syrup and my homemade granola, and that was it. And that's sort of my standard go-to right now. Even, as a matter of fact, I made it this afternoon when I was on with Kathy Hester.
Oh.
That's my standard go-to. It's easy. It's predictable. I know what it is. I can do it in my sleep. After I did that for a long while, like I'm talking about like a year, then I started experimenting and saying, okay, now that you know you're going to have oatmeal of some sort, whether it's oatmeal pancakes, oatmeal waffles, oatmeal raw, no matter what it was, I knew that it was going to be oatmeal. So once I started having that habit really entrenched in my daily everyday, then I started playing like playing in the playground of your kitchen. And I started experimenting with different combinations of things. So the ebook is really a reflection of that. It has oatmeal hot cooked recipes that are hot oatmeal with fruit, like they're sweet. Then there's some that are savory, like this morning I had savory mushroom, baby bella mushrooms and sun-dried tomatoes, and it just delicious. It's so delicious. So I had that, and there's a couple of others. There's in the ebook, there's an Asian steel cut oats recipe too. And so there's the sweet hot, the savory hot, the sweet baked, so it's in the oven. And then the last category there's 4 overnight oats.
Okay.
And those are the ones that I used to not like, overnight oats, until I figured out how to make them in a way that I loved them. And now they're delicious. I like to make them with some of my homemade soy yogurt because it kind of thickens it. And, or coconut yogurt if I'm treating myself. I don't always have the coconut because it's so high in fat, but I do once in a while. I will have it. So that really, this for me, this helped me lose, creating this oatmeal habit helped me lose the last 10 pounds that I had been just hanging around since I had babies 42 years ago. And I'm sticking to it. I say that if you want to lose weight, or you want to just even forget the weight piece of it, if you just want to find a way to get healthy, and you're not sure where to start with one meal. Don't even think about it every day. Think about tomorrow, I'm going to wake up and I'm going to have oatmeal.
Yeah.
And then that's tomorrow's Sunday. You have time to do that. And then do it again on Monday.
Yeah.
And then do it again on Tuesday. And then maybe make enough the next day that you have it for 5 meals worth, and put it in the fridge or put it in the freezer so that you have it. And all you have to do is heat it in the microwave and add your toppings, and you're done. And so that really was the iteration of this, was that it was to help me figure out how to get rid of the decision fatigue, get on the healthy food wagon, lose the last 10 pounds, and find a way to do it deliciously. And oatmeal, also, I have heart disease in my family, and I know that the oats are really helpful when it comes to dealing with heart disease. So
Yeah.
that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome. I mean, that's such a great transitional food too for people, right, who are coming from an unhealthy eating habit to come over and just nourish themselves with this healthy oatmeal.
Right.
And it sounds delicious the way that you make it and your addition to it.
It is. Although lately, I have to say that I've been kind of hooked on eating the oats raw, and I've been doing that with cacao nibs and goji berries and dates and the oats and some either soy milk or oat milk or almond milk or hemp milk, whatever I happen to have. Or that I usually make my own, not always.
Okay.
And then some cinnamon and some turmeric, fresh turmeric grated on it, little black pepper, and some cumin seeds that I grind.
Okay.
And it's just I love it. That's what I've been having. So I go through these different phases where I like to have different kinds of. So
Absolutely.
Yeah. So anyway, I want to make sure that everybody knows to go to the link in either of our bios, and you can find them by clicking on the arrow that's at the top of the phone screen. And you can, when you click on that arrow, it points down, you'll see, and it has both of our profiles. Click on one. I don't have a preference. Order from either of us, and just make sure you order that bundle and do it now, because a little over 24 hours from now, that bundle's not going to ever be available again. And you don't want to miss it, because both of us have experienced looking through it and thinking, this is insane. There's so much good stuff in there. So you want to make an investment in your health, just like you pay a copay, pay the $49 and do it. And you're going to be very happy that you did. So that's
health assurance instead of health insurance.
I love that.
It's health assurance. Yeah. So okay. Is it okay if I share a discount code on the NAMA with everybody?
Yes.
Okay, so if you guys want to get the accessories or the NAMA J2 juicer, there's a couple different models. I have a discount code you could use. It's ROSIE10. So ROSIE 10, and it'll actually give you 10% off. So
and it's absolutely worth it. It's an investment. Talk about an investment. That thing is amazing. It's just like the Rolls Royce, if you will. It's just so amazing. It really is a game changer for me.
Absolutely. So this has been amazing. I hope that you guys will get the bundle and you will make all of Ellen's recipes and try some of my juicing recipes and raw recipes in here, and just make yourself a priority and get healthier every day. We have so many recipes to share. So I had one out here to make as a demo, but we've already been on so long, so I'm okay if we just end it.
I can hear Michael poking around, and I think he's ready for dinner. But before we do that, I'm going to count to 3 and take a screenshot of us that I'm going to use when I post your Instagram. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Super. Okay, great.
Okay, awesome. And then you'll make me invite me as a collaborator.
Yes, I shall.
Yay!
I will do that. Thank you so much, Rosie. What a pleasure. Please stay in touch.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Ellen. This has been such a blessing to get to know you and connect with you. So I'm looking forward to continuing our friendship.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye everybody.